Hey, what up, y'all? You got the Sarge here. About to give you a quick trip report. Did a little sneak attack down to the casino the other day. And first off, let me tell you how this came about at first. My mom, me and my mom was there chatting the other day, and we supposed to be making a run down there for her birthday in a few weeks. And she was there playing away on her iPad, as she called it, her PlayStation, playing the slots on her PlayStation, just the pretend stuff. And I said, well, hell, you feel like making a run to the casino for the real deal? She's like, well, hell yeah. So, enough said. You know the old Sarge. I was down for it. So, the uh, the next day, yep, me and mom decided, hey, we're gonna make a run for the border, and we headed down to a local casino 3 hours down the road at Choctaw, Oklahoma. So made a drive down there, easy drive. We went down there on Tuesday, so we just did a quick overnighter. Uh, and one thing I will say is, since this was like a such a spur of the moment thing, uh, the bankroll was definitely skinny. So, and funny thing is, I've been practicing playing on a skinny bankroll, and when I say skinny, I'm gonna say less than 2,000. I mean, for some people I know that's plenty. For me, that's playing on the skinny there. So anyhow, we made the trip down to Choctaw, got down there. The room was comped, and we had a meals comp, so that was great. Hey, it was gonna be a one nighter, so that worked out perfect. Got down there, got checked into the room, came downstairs, got mom situated, and then uh, mom went over to her one-arm bandit slot machine. She loves playing the leprechaun machine, and mom told me, "Hey, you go handle your business. Give me the fist bump." And she said, "I'll see you later." I said, "All right, mom." So yeah. And I took off to go check out the craps pit and see what was up. However, one thing I'll say before I get to that portion of it is, before I headed down there, since I know I was going to be playing on the skinny, what I did was something that Ed, big shout out to Ed at Roll to Win, have always talked about, and ever since the trip to Biloxi, I've started doing that. Well, that was the last time I was in the casino, but I took my bankroll and broke it down into envelopes. Okay, so I had basically two envelopes of 500 each, 500 in my pocket for my initial buy-in, and well, actually the other 500 went to mom. Like I said, the bankroll was a little skinny altogether, so give mom 500 to go do her slot thing, and so had two envelopes sitting up in the room, and basically 500. So I know I was playing on the skinny, so that's a great idea. Ever since Ed mentioned that when we was heading down to Biloxi to the Brownwater Bash, I said, you know what, I need to start doing that, and I will try my damnedest not to open up those other envelopes. If I did that, then I mean I must have been doing something right. Okay, so anyhow, took and made my way down to the craps pit and got down there. Lo and behold, it was like about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Well, yeah, right at 3, and there was maybe 4 people at the table. It was a $15 minimum table, ideal, perfect, and I decided, and my spot, stick right, 2.5 was open, so I was like, perfect. So walked up there, took my spot. The dice was down on the far end of the table, okay, and then when it came up to the guy that was maybe two shooters away from me, the one guy said, when they pushed the dice to him, they said, he's gonna pass. He said, "I'm passing, I'm not shooting." I'm like, okay. So luckily the guy right next to me, he was like, hell yeah, I'm shooting, give him here. So I made sure I took action on him, went in 6-8, and I, just went 6-8, so I had action on him. And dude started shooting. And actually, I don't know why I did it. I think, well, you know what? I shot with him before. I remember his face, and I immediately said, I know this is bad, but I'm gonna go 5-5-5 on him also. And dude took off, started shooting them dice, man. Let me tell you, he had a nice, beautiful arc on him, kind of a high toss, let him go up, and it would come down, bounce, and hit against the lower pyramid, just and stop. Beautiful toss, and he was doing it consistently. And incidentally, this guy was a black chip player, so I was like, okay, yeah. So, and he had almost hit after about maybe 10 rolls. My 6-8 that I started with quickly grew to where I had all the numbers covered. After I recouped my initial $36 and started pressing, I noticed, hey, I got all the numbers covered and this dude is hitting. So I started pressing and pressing, and after about 12 rolls in, he reset the ATS. He needed one more number on the tall side. He resets it, and then he's like, damn it. Because he was up for 25, 25, 25 on the ATS. And so I said, what the hell? This guy's hot. Went back up for 5-5-5 on the ATS, and he commenced rolling again. I saw this guy took and said, $100 aces. He threw it out there. I was like, wow, this guy. And I forgot what set was he using. I think he was using the straight sixes. Yep, he was using the straight 6 dice set. And he got like a 6-2-8. He threw another $100 out of $100 aces. He did it again. He got like a AC deuce. He threw another $100 out there. He's like, come on, I know I can hit this shit. Bam. Dude threw the $100 out there, hit them aces on his third toss after going $300 in the hole. And let me tell you, if you know what that pays, that was a hell of a payday. $100 on those aces. And man, yeah. Anyhow, he went on to commence rolling, and guess what? Yes, he rolled them all. He rolled them all. He dude held those dice for about I'm gonna say close to 45 minutes or so, and had a 30 plus roller. And man, yeah, I was glad. I was so happy I bought in and went back up in that 5-5-5. So that definitely plus me up and put me to the positive, deep in the positive, because at that casino up there, 155 is, I think, was it like 1,050 or something like that. So on the ATS, on the bonus bet. So yeah, that worked out perfect. So, and again, this is me just getting to the table. Okay, the dice haven't even made it to me yet, and I'm up. I'm like, way up. Dude just hit the ATS. So the dice comes to me, and I'm like, okay, you know what? All right, let me see what I can do. And my first toss out, after dude 7 out, after, like I said, 30 something roll, dice comes to me, and I commence rolling, and the first toss felt a little shaky. I could tell I was tight because the dice hit the back wall and bounced off like a springboard. So I was like, all right, calm down. I think first roll was come out 7, and I readjusted my set because I had I think I went with a 6. I went initially with a 3V, but I turned the top die in one, so it became a 6-2, 3, 6-2, 3, 2, or no, 6-2. What would be on the top? Hell, 6231, something like that. But it was a cross 6 variant that I was staring at. Anyhow, I quickly changed it and went to a proper 3V and just turned the top die quarter turn forward, and then the next roll, hard 6, set the point. Next roll, 516, point made. Next roll, and incidentally, since I was doing this on the skinny, this was my first roll. I only went, the point was 6. I took a $30 6, $30 odds on 6, and I went $30 on the 8, and that was it. Okay, because again, even though dude had already hit the ATS, I was trying to protect the bankroll right off the bat. So anyhow, I kept on rolling, hit the 6, okay, point set, came back out again. I think the point was 9. I went to that cross 6 variant that I like using, and the point was 5. I hit a 9. Next roll, hit the 5, and again I was up on the 5. I was up in the 9 and 5. Something learned from Cage, sniping, and big shout out to Cashier Cage. This was me doing my damnedest sniping. I had no choice. It's a bitch when you don't have a bankroll, a nice big bankroll to work with. And I think because the pressure was on to not blow through my bankroll, I had to snipe. Okay, I had to snipe numbers, and I couldn't do my, those of you that watch me know, you'll see me do that 920 across, which I have done at the casino a time or two. It worked out a couple of times, but I got burnt a couple of times. Definitely know I couldn't do that this time, and I didn't do any across betting. I basically took no more than about 3 points, if that. 3-point Molly, to the point plus 2 numbers, and focus on hitting those numbers. And in that roll, my initial roll, I had a 15 roller. I made the tall on the ATS. Okay, so I was like, yep. Because initially I had a couple of rubbish numbers. I think I hit the 12 and the yo early, and then I just focus on trying to hit box numbers and just leave the ATS alone. It'll take care of itself. And eventually, boom, I think I needed what was it, the 10? I think I needed the 10, and that came natural. So so that worked out. And then I looked down on the other side, and hell, I realized all I needed was the 4. I was like, okay, so you mean I have the potential of hitting the ATS just like dude before me? And that's when the ATS became distracting, because then I decided, I know, big mistake, to focus on the 4. And I went ahead and changed the dice set, went to a 6-2, 2-4, just a 2V set, pitch 1 dice, click 1 towards me, and went on to I kept on rolling 8s, 6s, hard 8s, and occasionally a 4, no, not a 4, a 10, but no matter what I do, that 4 would not come. I changed the set, flipped them around, did everything. I could not hit a 4 to get paid. Okay, and that would have been a nice payday. Eventually, I think the roll, I got to about 15 rolls in, 15, 16 rolls, and 7 out, and looked down at my chip rack. I was like, man, I haven't been to the table for no more than less than an hour, and I'm already up. You know, I'm seeing purple chips and black chips, and incidentally, my initial buy-in was $200 on the table, $200, and I was like, okay, I don't know if the rest of the table is gonna be hot, but something again that Cashier Cage has always said, hey, when you're up, walk away. I don't know if the shooters after me were gonna be hot. I know the guy just before me was hot, and I did fairly decent. So I started thinking, I was like, no, 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 no. I'm gonna walk. I said, hey, color me up, and colored up to the tune of let's see, 18. I think it was 1875. You know, so and of course when I hit the ATS, I had the dealers up for the usual 2-1-2 that I always do. So they got paid on that, and I took and kicked the dealers the extra 75 and walked away with 1,800 right after being in the casino for less than being there for less than 2 hours in. Okay, and I was like, okay, let me go check on mom down on the other side and walk away, take a breather, go get me a fresh drink and chill out. Because, you know, too many times I have been, just as soon as I get to the casino, within an hour or two after being there, I'm in the hole. Okay, that I know that's the story of most of us life. You get there and just automatically, boom, you're in the hole. Well, hell, I was in profit big time, so I was like, I ain't giving back none of this. So, matter of fact, I promptly went up to the room and unloaded some of that cash, ripped open an envelope, put it in one of the envelopes, and came back down with 500 and said, I need to figure out how to play on this 500. Either I'm gonna grow it or it's gonna dissipate. But so basically, I was up, had profit of 1,800 to the good. That was locked away. That wasn't going any place. Actually, I take that back. When I went back down, went to see what mom was doing. I was like, ready to go get something to eat. She's like, yeah. When I walked up, mom said, here you go, cash this in for me. She whips out a ticket from her slot play for $330. I was like, yes, that's my mom. So went, cashed that in for her. Then after that, I was like, come on, let's go get something to eat. So we went right there to the little place called Salt. I want to say Salt Grass. It's a little restaurant they call Salt something. But anyhow, we went right there because didn't want to have to walk all the way down at the other end of the casino with my mom. She's 90. She's got all her faculties intact, but I don't like taxing her too much with the walking. And she was happy to stay right there in that general area and play, which is what she normally does. So when we went in, we was there chit-chatting. Food came, was there chatting. Then I was like, oh yeah, crab table. She said, how you did in the crab table? I'm like, did okay. Here you go. Whipped out mom 500. She was like, what? So put that in her hand, and then it's like, okay, so we finished up eating. I think we just did a couple of, they had some nice, great burgers in there. So after that, went back out. Mom said, you know what, you know where I'll be at? She went right back to her little leprechaun machine, and I was like, okay. And went up to the room, made a dash up there, ripped open that envelope and threw, I think I threw 13, right at 1,300, sealed that up. I was like, okay, let's go back down and try to do this again and see if we can keep growing the bankroll. So went back up to the crap table. By that time, they had opened up the second crap table, and but no one was over there. But I didn't go initially playing that table I went back to the one where I was at and got my spot back, got back on there. I had a mediocre roller for maybe five or so. Uh, the guy that was there that hit the ATS was already gone. There was a gal there that was shooting. She's a regular. She shot pretty good, and I had gotten on some of her roll, uh, and then actually take that when she was shooting. When I walked to the table, the dice had just come to her, so I made sure I got in action with her. Went 5-5-5 just for the hell of it, and won't you know it, she hit the tall on the ATS. I was like, yes, this is great. And she had a nice roll. She had a nice roll. The dice came to me. I had about a 6 or 7 roller, and then I said, color me up. So that time I colored up. I bought in for 200 and colored up with about 5 or 600 when I left the table, and then went over to the next table where nobody was at, and got over there and started shooting. Then I think one other guy came and started shooting with me. Bought in for 200 and started set to my favorite 3V set, top dice, a quarter turn forward, and had a roll of about 8. Had an 8 roller, but what was funny was the guy who was on the table with me. As soon as I got finished rolling, he came over and said, "Man, that was some great shooting. I've never seen anyone toss the dice like that." I get that all the time, guys. Those of us that throw the chopper, those of you that throw the chopper out there, I'm sure even Cashier Cage get it when he's in the casino as well. So it's one of those rare oddity. I've come accustomed to it. Somebody call me and say, "Man, where'd you get that toss from? That toss is cool." This guy was just in awe about it, and I was like, "Yeah, it's called a chopper. It's pretty tough toss to master, but when you get it down, it can be okay." So, and he was like, "Wow." So anyhow, he went on to shoot, and I think he had a nice roll, about a 5 or 6 roller. Again, you could tell he's a practice shooter. He actually he did have a decent roll, about an 8 or 10 roller, and then by that time, 2 other people came on the table. They did okay. The dice came back to me one more time. I think I had about another 8 roller. My rolls this time around, I shot very well. That's what I'll say. And when I say well, my rolls were consistent. Okay, I think most of my rolls were about an 8 roller. I had my initial roll of that 15 roller where I hit the ATS that one time, and then let's see, after I got off the table later on that evening, and then again when I cashed out after playing there, I think I cashed out for about 6 or 700. So Bankroll was still intact and still growing, so that was a plus. The main thing was do no harm to thy bankroll, okay? Because I was playing in the skinny, I already had a profit, was not gonna mess it up. Regardless of what I do, I was leaving the casino with a profit, hands down. Okay, so went back down to go check on mom. Went back down, "Hey mom, what you got going on?" She like, "Here, go cash it in for me." Mom whips out another ticket for $332. Again, it's almost identical. I was like, "Wait, didn't I just cash this in?" She like, "Boy, you cash it in." I was like, "Yes!" So yeah, my mom was doing her slot thing, and she was still right there in the same machine where I left her from earlier. that leprechaun, the little leprechaun with the bag of gold, and he kicks over the bucket. She was telling me how she got him to kick the bucket over, and they were fighting. It's hilarious. Anyhow, by that time it was coming up about 10 o'clock ish. Mom was like, "Hey, she's ready to go to bed," so took mom upstairs. Yeah, this time around my wife didn't go. She decided she was just gonna sit it out. So wife stayed at home here in Texas. This was just me and mom made this run, and okay, put mom to bed. Went back down. I said, let me chill for a bit. I think I sat down the bubble craps machine, and they have the old bubble crap machine with the big dice, not the little shakers like most people got. And I'm just gonna say I got a system for playing that machine that seems to work. And I sat down there and put a 20 in, and by 12 o'clock, I had turned that 20 into 200, and I said, was it? Yeah, was it two? Yeah, 200. And then I said, let me go down, I'm gonna use this 200 and go down to craps table. Went back down to craps table, bought in for the 200 that I had just made, and the dice came around. They was in the process of shutting down the one table, so it was only going to be one table open, and it was still a $15 table. Remember this was a Tuesday night, so business was pretty slow coming out of Monday, Labor Day. So the dice came around. The guy prior to me, as soon as I walked up, the dice was on the far end of the table. Then they came up to him, and I asked him, "Hey, you shooting, man?" He's like, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna shoot." And he was doing one of those, chuck the dice down, quick roll like the Kraken, but just kind of like extreme Kraken, just kind of roll the dice down hard. And I don't know, he must have had about a 3 or 4 roller, and but he was betting big, and he promptly $7. So I was like, okay. Dice came around to me, set him up my stack, went in. I think again wasn't planning on giving back anything, so I went in I think I went 66 inside, because by this time I was feeling good about my toss. I was like, okay, no, I take that back. I didn't. I placed came out, set the point. The point was like 9. I think I placed the 5 for the 6 for 30, the 8 for 30, and the point was 5. So took double odds on the 5 and set to that. My cross sixes, again offset, one click off, and I 2 rolls in, about 3 rolls in, hit the point of 5, got paid there. Think I went ahead and spread out, covered the 4 and 10 at $15 a piece. So I had all the numbers covered, and then the 8 was the point. Went to a 3V. Boom. Couple rolls later, hit the point. Then the next point was I think rolled a 6 4 10. Couple rolls later, boom, hit the 10, and then just think I set the point of 4. So I had already made 3 point. I was into 15 roll, 16 roll, and that hand ended up being a 21 roller. That was my 21 roll hand. After that, I said, okay, you know what? I had a good night. Matter of fact, during that hand, I pressed up my bets. I had the 6 at 180. I had the 8 at 105. The 9 and 5 boat was at 75, and the 4 and 10 was sitting. the 10 was sitting at 100, and the 4 was sitting at 50. So I had quite a bit of money out there, and I think at some point I told the dealer, cut my bets in half, bring me down to table min. Okay, so I took all that off the table and brought it back into my rack because I was like, okay, I got a lot of money out here, and I was rolling good. Okay, and I was, felt like it was never gonna end, and then I decided, yeah, go ahead, let's go down to table min. And won't you know, 2 rolls later, bam, big red came knocking. So when I colored up, after that, again, after my roll, I didn't care who else was shooting. I didn't stick around to see who else was shooting, but I went ahead and colored up because I was happy with that. I was like, hey, I'm gonna sleep good tonight because I am in profit here. I colored up to the tune of another, let's see, I think I had about seven or 800 bucks. Yep, about 750, almost 800 bucks. After talking to dealers, I think I walked away with right at 700 for sure. Then it was like about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was driving back to, the long haul back to Texas. I was like, okay, it was a good night. I'm gonna make sure I leave on a positive note, and that was it. Shut it down. I think on the way back down, went back, sat at the bubble crap machine for a bit, played there, put another 20 in, and think I flipped that and turned it into another 200 bucks. I was like, okay, this is good. That's it. Not gonna push my luck. Shut it down. Went to bed that night. I was like, okay. I took and again put aside some cash. Know in the morning all I'm gonna play with is 200 bucks to play in the, because me and my mom, we already said that in the morning once we woke up we was gonna go back downstairs and just play maybe an hour or two before hitting the road and be on the road by 12 o'clock so we could make it through Dallas without hitting all that damn traffic. Like, that's possible. Every time you go through the heart of Dallas on 35, you're gonna hit traffic. So anyhow, we got up that morning, had ready my bankroll stashed aside for the day, and then went downstairs, grabbed a bite to eat. Mom jumped back on her same leprechaun machine. I was like, handle your business, Mom. So she went back down to the craps pit, got on the table. I was like, and the guy that hit the ATS the day before, he was the only one at the table that black chip player. And he seen me walk up, he's like, hey, there go my man, yes, we got the table all to ourselves, let's make some money. I was like, all right, let's do it, man. So he was rolling, he was already enrolling, so I waited till he sevened out to buy in. Then the dealers asked him did he want the dice back as I was buying in, and he said no, pass them to him. And it's like, well, he didn't have any action because I had just walked up to the table. He's like, I don't give a shit about that. He's a shooter. Pass the dice to him. So, I bought in. Think I went, did 6-8 on myself just to see how my throws was gonna be for the day initial toss was gonna be till I get dialed in. And first roll out, dice were landing nice and tight. Laying them down like a Persian carpet. I was like, okay. So I think I set a point of 8 and placed the 6 and 5 and 9 and started growing from there and had about a 8 roller. Didn't recoup, didn't press my bets up. I just was being content with, let me see if I can get my initial bets off the table, and that didn't quite work out. It almost did after that 8 roller. Then the dice went to him. He got hot for a little, He had about an 8 or 10 roller, so I made some money on him. Dice came back to me. I got hot again, had about another 8 or 10 roller, and it was kind of going back and forth between us. That's the kind of a choppy table. He point 7 out. Dice came to me. I had a 2 or 3 roller. Dice went to him. He had an 8 roller. Dice came to me. I had a 5 roller, and so forth. So after that, $200 dwindled down to $50. I was like, hey, dude, I gotta hit the road, man. I'm out. He's like, oh, man, you leave me hanging? I was like, yo, till next time, man. So, told the dealers $50 and headed out and went down to go grab Mom. And I was tempted to jump back in the bubble crap machine on the way down, but I was like, nah, leave it alone. You did good. So, all in all, coming out of this trip, which was, like I said, the bankroll was skinny. It put the pressure on me to really focus my play on trying to snipe numbers. Couldn't be as wild as I'd normally like to be with my bankroll, and had to play somewhat conservative. It worked out for the best. I was forced into that corner to where I had to play on the skinny, and I made it work. So, and all this was the pre-run for my mom's birthday, which is in 2 weeks here. At the end of September, we'll be heading right back down there. But you know, like I said, Mom didn't have to twist my wrist to say, "Come on, let's do it." I threw it out there, and I was ready to roll too. So what the hell? But we had a great time. It was a great time. All in all, came back up $2,000 for the trip. So that was a very lucrative overnighter down to Choctaw. Had a ball, and hopefully be able to go back down there in 2 weeks and do the same thing. You know, we'll see how it goes. Fingers crossed, man. But like Mudslide said, luck's got little to do with it. This was all practice, and like Ed said, practice like you play, play like you practice, and that's exactly what I did. You know, playing on the skinny, and again, employing everything from some of Cashier Cage wisdom. What's that thing Cage always says? When you got a profit, walk. Every time after my roll, after I passed the dice, I can't tell you what the other folks did, because every time the dice left me, I was in profit. I was in good profit. I'm like, I'm not giving any of this back, because too many times you end up where you're in profit. You got a nice chip rack, and you stay there and watch it dwindle down like an accordion, closing back up. You know, my chip rack was sitting out here like this. Like I had damn near 2 rows going of greens and a couple of blacks and stuff in there. And I was like, oh no, I got a nice profit here. Matter of fact, I was surprised to hear when they colored me up initially, and it was like 1875. I was like, what? That's what I had there in front of me? Nice. It's like, okay, that's it. Let me go put this away, put something upstairs in the safe, which is exactly what I did. And, you know, was able to grease Mom palm a little, which worked out great. So Mom made out like a bandit. And, hey, that's my road dog. We looking forward to doing it again for her 90th birthday in a couple weeks. I'll give you guys an update and let you know how it goes. But hey, this has been the Sarge giving you a quick Choctaw trip report on my last little adventure, and I'm gonna call it doing it on the skinny, because the bankroll was definitely skinny. Hey, take care, my peeps. It's been Sarge getting it in. Sarge out.